All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of Sports with Schu. Please like and subscribe. Leave comments for future video recommendations. I'll probably respond to all the comments I get. Today, we're going to be talking about how the Chargers can maximize Justin Herbert's potential through the draft. So it's going to be all offensive side of the ball and all draft talk. No free agency or anything. So going in, obviously biggest need, left tackle. We have suitable players for everywhere else on the line. Um, but really left tackle, tight end might be, I would say, the biggest technical need after that, other than probably depth at O line. But just because of how, like, we're probably not going to get Pitts. I think I put him on the list here, but if we don't get Pitts, then it's really not worth picking any of the other tight ends unless it's on day three. But definitely left tackle, tight end. There's a lot of really good receivers that I like in this draft who can also complement Justin Herbert. Some on day one, if we trade back, some on day two, some on day three. So let's start with the or offensive tackles here. So our biggest need, obviously, round one, probably not going to get Sue. I'm incredibly anti trading up. I've seen some mock drafts recently having the Chargers trading up to, I think, the seventh pick with the Lions and grabbing Sewell. I would hate that. Penne is a, yes, generational talent and unbelievably talented, but and super young, but just not good value at all. Slater a little bit older, but I've also seen a lot of mock drafts with him getting taken either by the Lions at 7 or I want to say Panthers at 8. Um, but he's been off the board a lot more recently. Darisaw is most of the time there for the Chargers, and the biggest question that I've been asking myself lately has been if it's really just, let's just say, for this scenario, Sertan and Horn are off the board, and it's Darisaw. Like, yes, there's going to be other options, like maybe Parsons or Devontae Smith, but if Christian Darisaw is there, would you rather stick there and draft him or trade back with somebody like the Bears, who I believe they might have the 20th pick, or the uh, Steelers at 24, so that they can come up, get their guy if a quarterback slips, and pass on Christian Darisaw, but instead get a guy like Tevin Jenkins, Walker Little, Samuel Cosme, Dylan Radunes. I've been torn about that lately because there's a it's really Sewell and Slater are kind of close in their own tier. A little bit of a drop off. Christian Darisaw is a pretty sure thing at tackle. A tiny bit of a drop off again, and then this next group of guys with Jenkins, Little, Cosme, Radunes. I think depending on the package, if we'd obviously get their pick in the first round in the 20s, and then possibly their second round pick, maybe a third. I've just been torn on that value. You guys let me know if you'd rather take Darisaw at 13 or trade back and get one of these four guys. Um, and then rounds 2 and 3, some guys I've seen like Leatherwood in the first round, or I guess in just this group of four guys, Leatherwood, I was kind of disappointed watching his tape. Expected a little bit more. Liam Eichenberg, the Guilty as Charged podcast guys, are really high on him. I am not as high on him. I would be okay if we go somewhere else in the first round other than O line. I would be okay taking him in the second round, I guess. But I would really prefer one of these other like 7 or 8 guys ahead of him, at least for me. Day 3, more project guys. James Hudson out of Cincinnati, Stone Forsyth out of Florida. He's like 6'9", definitely a project. Spencer Brown out of, I want to say, Northern Iowa, another just definite project, and Dante Smith out of, I think, Eastern Carolina. All those guys would definitely be just not necessarily luxury picks, but like developmental guys who can perhaps, if we're lucky, take over for Balaga at the right tackle spot after the left tackle spot is filled with one of these higher guys. But this would help benefit Justin Herbert for obvious reasons. Uh, the tackles are basically equally important. A lot of people think that's like left tackle, a drop off, right tackle, drop off, and then like left to right guard and center. But both the tackles are equally important, but it's all about getting the best 5 guys you have out on that field and having a hole at left tackle, even though we have average to above average guys at all the other positions. If we just start Trey Pipkins or one of these day 3 guys, it's going to bring down our O-line a lot more than you guys think. It really varies by team in terms of what side their best pass rusher lines up on. But if you just have like a Myles Garrett going up against Trey Pipkins every play, Justin Herbert is going to have to get out of the pocket and scramble to his right almost every single play. And that's not what we really want in terms of negating pressure from Justin Herbert and allowing him to step up into the pocket. Hopefully he can, I guess he kind of already had his breakout year, offensive rookie of the year, but hopefully he can just take a next step if we get one of these guys in the first or second round. Moving on, we have receivers. This, I think, is being undervalued by a lot of Chargers fans. Yes, I realize that tackle and corner are our 2 biggest needs, but rosters turn over incredibly fast in the NFL. We have Keenan Allen. Mike Williams has this year left. And then, yeah, we have Tyron Johnson and Jalen Guyton. Jalen Guyton, I'm not huge on. He had a lot of big plays, but he also dropped a lot of balls. I like Tyron Johnson more. But receiver is a very, very valuable position. And when you have guys that can get open, it doesn't mean that you don't need an O-line. But if you have a guy like Keenan Allen who can get open at the line of scrimmage almost every single play with his route running, and he's going to be open, you can get the ball out and know where to go with a read. So getting to the first round guys, I like Devontae Smith. He's probably the most likely to be there at 13, but he weighed in at 166 pounds at the medical combine, which is, we've known he's light this entire process, but that's just like, you get any hands on this dude as like even a lighter corner that's like 190, 195. You get any hands on this dude at the line of scrimmage and he's kind of done. Yes, he has an unreal release package, route running, great hands. He's proven that his weight does not matter. But 166 is a little bit concerning, and he's pretty old. If Chase, if Jamar Chase is there, he's he's my pick. Like, yes, I go to LSU, so might be biased, but blue chip dude is just an absolute monster at receiver. He's only like 6 foot, 6'1", but I could see him and Justin Herbert having a lot of success for the next 10 years. Jalen Waddle, a lot of people don't like that pick at 13. I would be okay with it. Wouldn't wouldn't be my top pick. Um, what I would like a little bit more than that would be if we didn't like any of the guys there at 13, we trade back into the 20s, and I would like this a little bit more. Guys like Rashad Bateman, Elijah Moore, and Terrace Marshall. Uh, Rashad Bateman, his comp in the NFL on the PFF draft guide was Keenan Allen, route running, release. He's a little bit shorter than we thought, a little bit smaller, but I mean, if your comp is Keenan Allen, we know what we're getting with that. Elite route running, going to be open almost every single play. Elijah Moore, freak athlete, great route runner, short. Some people think he's limited to the slot. He can probably play outside. Great hands, contested catch. A really, really good all around receiver and elite athlete. Elite athlete, but he's just a little bit on the shorter side, which makes people think he's limited to the slot. Terrace Marshall, pretty good route running, improved this year at LSU. Very good athlete, very explosive, great hands, great contested catch guy. I would be more of a fan on taking a receiver day 2 or day 3 than in the first round. Some guys I just want to highlight: Rondell Moore, Kadarius Toney, De'Ami Brown, rounds 2 and 3, and if any of the guys from round 1 are there, rounds 2 or 3, I would be okay with that. Rondell Moore, somewhat similar to Elijah Moore in terms of he's short. People think he's limited to the slot, but absolute freak athlete. Rondell opted out this last year though, so we don't know quite as much what we're getting. Kadarius Toney, some people have him going 15th. Um, if he's there rounds 2 or 3, he's kind of like they described Deion Sanders as what was the human joystick. I can kind of see that with Kadarius Toney. He's just unbelievably slippery and shifty, and his balance for I think he's six. Yeah, he's 6 feet. His balance is just ridiculous. De'Ami Brown, strong, deep threat. Yeah, it had a limited route tree, but he showed that he is capable of being a good route runner. Jalen Darden, who's down here, I really like. I couldn't find his 10-yard split, but dude has the best acceleration I've ever seen of anybody, I think, playing football ever. His 40 wasn't like, it was under 4 or 5 for sure, but this dude's acceleration is ridiculous. Josh Palmer out of Tennessee, out like on day 3, Tylan Wallace, Anthony Schwartz, and Dwayne Eskridge. All these guys can bring different things. Eskridge and Schwartz pretty similar in terms of just raw speed. Tylan Wallace, Josh Palmer, a lot of physical tools, especially Josh Palmer, day 3. His quarterback sucked at Tennessee, so he couldn't really do anything. But good physical tools, smart football player, good route runner, good hands. On day 3, I think that would be a steal. And all of these guys, in one way or another, would complement Herbert. Whether it's, I really like, uh, I think route running's one of the most important things. Like, yes, a guy can be a limited athlete like Keenan Allen, but if you have elite release packages and you're just sudden and you can drop your hips, get out of a break, and just separate as a receiver, that's the most important thing at that position. And guys like, I mean, separation can also come from speed, but Bateman, elite route running, Elijah Moore, Chase, I would put in that category. Um, Tony's very sudden. There's a lot of these guys that are very sudden. And then raw speed, that's something that we like to talk about with Justin Herbert because he has a cannon, and we just want to see those 70, 80-yard bombs down the field to guys like Waddle, Moore, Rondell Moore, Jalen Darden, Schwartz, Eskridge. All those guys could just be burners on the outside who might not be the best route runners and separators underneath, but if anybody like hesitates for a second in their coverage, they're gone. So those are just a highlight of some of the receivers that I think would complement Justin Herbert well. Tight end. I talked about this earlier, but obviously if Kyle Pitts is there at 13, honestly, one of the players I wouldn't hate trading up for if he fell to like a couple picks before the Chargers, not many. But Kyle Pitts, ridiculous. We all know what he is. Generational tight end. But day 2, so rounds 2 and 3, I don't like taking any of these guys that I have listed. Tight end is technically, I guess, a hole. We have Steven Anderson and Jared Cook. But these guys, I think if any of them fell to day 3, which I think some of them will, I would be okay taking them rounds 5, 6, or 7 if they're there. Pat Fryermuth, Tommy Tremble, Brevin Jordan, Hunter Long. All these guys have slightly different skill sets. Brevin Jordan more pure receiver or like pure receiving tight end, I guess. Decent route runner, fast. Tommy Tremble, the PFF guys like him to move to fullback just because of how ridiculous his blocking is, but pretty good athlete. And I think with some NFL coaching, he can be a pretty suitable average to above average tight end, which is all we need. Pat Fryermuth, probably my favorite tight end of these 4. Showed out at Penn State, has all the tools, and Hunter Long out of Boston College would be another guy that I would like day 3. Here we have interior O-line, not our biggest need, but I would probably put it top 5 in terms of 1, depth, and 2, upside. We have Matt Filer and Ode Ibushi there. Corey Linsley hopefully is blue chip guy for at least the next couple of years. But addressing interior O-line, round 1, not a huge fan of just because of value. Rounds 2 and 3, if the value is there for some of these guys, and if we've already addressed left tackle, possibly corner beforehand, then I would be okay with this. But some guys to highlight that I think would be good at protecting Justin Herbert and opening up the run game for some more balance. Elijah Vera Tucker. Elijah Vera Tucker. Some guys like taking him at 13 and trying him at tackle. I don't think he would hold up at tackle in the NFL. I would want to say he has sub 33 inch arms, which is basically the benchmark for tackles in the NFL. If we traded back into the 20s and picked him up, I wouldn't necessarily hate it just because it's a pretty sure thing at guard in terms of probably going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. I think that there's better picks in the first round though for us. So rounds 2 and 3, Landon Dickerson, Creed Humphrey, Quinn Miners, Jackson Carman. Jackson Carman can also, I would try him first at tackle. I think that he might be better suited on the inside. And then Jalen Mayfield, I personally definitely think needs to be on the inside. Um, these first three guys, though, all played interior during their college years. Dickerson, a little bit of injury concerns, which is the only reason I would shy away from him. He's every like O-line scout's dreams in terms of IQ, physical tools, and just mean streak. Creed Humphrey, similar, a little bit less injury prone, but not as much upside. Hasn't shown us quite as much. Quinn Miners, out of UW Whitewater, just showed out at the Senior Bowl, rising up a lot of boards. I would really like him if we could get him day 3. He would probably end up starting over Ode Ibushi at right guard for us. Jackson Carman, Jalen Mayfield, two guys that a lot of people have going rounds 2 and 3. Some people have Jalen Mayfield going around 1, which I think is crazy. Jackson Carman, like I said, I would probably try on the outside just to see if he can hold up there, but I'll probably kick him inside. Jalen Mayfield definitely kick inside. Both have like highlight reel blocks, but just not the consistency and not the athletic upside that you would like to see from tackles, but suitable to play on the inside. And then here's just a list of day 3 guys that I would like to fill out depth. They all bring something different to the table, but Aaron Banks out of Notre Dame, Ben Cleveland, Georgia, Wyatt Davis, Ohio State. Wyatt Davis, a lot of guys have him going day 2, but if he fell to day 3, that's where I would be more comfortable taking him. Kendrick Green out of Illinois, I really like. Drake Jackson, center out of Kentucky, I'm a fan of, but round like 5 or 6, pretty late. David Moore, Trey Smith, Brady Christensen, and Brady Hainsey. Brady Christensen, a lot of people like out of BYU as a tackle prospect, like day 2. I don't think he's going to be able to play there in the NFL. But if any of these guys we could get somewhere on day 3, I would like those picks for 1, depth. 2, you never know. Could be a gem that just fell. They show out at OTAs and get the starting spot. But mainly just for depth because we're completely revamping our O-line and we need all the help that we can get. And finally, running backs, absolutely not first round. I would probably cry myself to sleep that night next Thursday, a week from today. Day 2, also not a fan of at all. Just we have a lot of other holes in our roster, and there's a lot more value and upside at other positions. But day 3, if any of the big 4 of Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams or Michael Carter. If any of them are there day 3, which I would be very surprised if they were, I would be okay taking them, I guess, in the 4th, but mainly like 5th, 6th, 7th rounds. And then Khalil Herbert is another guy that I would like. All those guys bring definitely elite runners. They vary as pass catchers and pass protectors, but I think we're going to see our run game most definitely improve this year, mainly because run game is more offensive line than running back. Like the Steelers want to take Najee Harris or just their guy for running back at 24, which I hope they do. That would be hilarious. And a running back would go off the board before the Chargers pick in the 2nd round, which means a guy might fall an extra spot. But you can't expect to draft like your guy at running back, the top running back, and have a subpar, not great offensive line and expect that guy to like completely revitalize your running game at all. That's just not. Look at analytics, look at anything. That's just not how it works. But if any of these guys fell to day 3, value would be much better and they would complement Austin Eckler. Joshua Kelly uh, did not have the greatest rookie year. Justin Jackson, I really like, but pretty injury prone. So one of these guys for depth and complement to Austin Eckler, I think would really help open up our offense for Justin Herbert. So that's going to do it. This video was how to maximize Justin Herbert's potential through the draft. So mainly just talking offensive weapons and a few guys like the receivers who can complement his skill set. I think this year I would be a pretty big fan of going mainly offense. Yes, we need corner, safety, perhaps some edge, but I would be happy going mainly offense this draft just to try and push Justin Herbert's ceiling, just to see what we have if we surround him on this rookie contract with other elite players. We already have some, but if we just give him more tools, then we could see a Patrick Mahomes type breakout. But I just want to see what we have in Justin Herbert, give him as many weapons as possible. That way we can, like when it comes contract extension time, we know exactly what we have, the value that we want to give him. If we think that he's a top 5 quarterback, then we throw everything at him just to keep him, because we can have an average roster, like some holes here and there, but a top 5 quarterback can carry us to a Super Bowl with a mediocre roster. But if he's a top 15 quarterback, then we definitely don't want to overpay, because it would be hard to fill out the rest of the roster. And with just a top 15 quarterback, you need a pretty elite roster just to compete at a high level. So those are some reasons that I think it's also important to surround him with weapons. That is going to do it for this video. I am Schu. This was Sports with Schu, and I will see you in the next video.